What if everything you believe, about morality, purpose, even truth itself, is a lie? What if the values shaping your life are nothing more than a trick, a cage built to keep you obedient rather than strong? Would you dare to tear it all down and face the chaos beneath? This is the brutal challenge Friedrich Nietzsche throws at us. He wasn't just another philosopher sitting in quiet contemplation, he was a hammer, smashing through centuries of illusion. His ideas weren't meant to comfort, they were meant to wake you up, to shake the very foundations of how you see the world. When Nietzsche declared, "God is dead," he wasn't celebrating. He was warning. The foundation of morality, the grand structure of meaning that had guided humanity for centuries, was crumbling. Without it, what remained? Most people, Nietzsche argued, would rather cling to empty traditions than confront the terrifying truth: there is no inherent meaning in the universe. And yet, for those willing to face it, this void was not a curse, it was a challenge. If nothing is given, then everything must be created. But first, you must unshackle yourself from the comforting lies of the past. Are you ready to destroy the illusions that have enslaved mankind for centuries? Staring into the abyss, imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you've been taught, about good and evil, right and wrong, was never real. That the foundation of your beliefs was built on sand, and now the tide is coming in. Would you cling to the illusion, pretending nothing has changed? Or would you let the old world drown and find the strength to build your own? Nietzsche believed most people would choose the illusion. He called them the herd, those who follow society's rules not because they are true, but because they are easy. The herd seeks comfort, not truth. They obey out of habit, not conviction. Their morality is borrowed, their ambition secondhand. They live and die without ever realizing they were asleep. But some, very few, dare to awaken. The abyss stares back. Nietzsche warned that when you strip away illusion, you don't find peace. You find the abyss. The terrifying void where meaning used to be. Without a God to command, without moral laws to follow, without universal truth to cling to, what is left? Most people, when faced with this abyss, recoil in fear. They seek escape. Some return to religion, desperate to believe again. Others drown themselves in distractions, endless entertainment, shallow pleasures, mindless routine, anything to avoid staring too long into the void. But the rarest individuals, the ones Nietzsche admired, do not run. They look into the abyss and refuse to blink. They do not seek meaning. They create it. The birth of the Übermensch. This is where Nietzsche's most powerful idea takes shape, the Übermensch, the overman, the one who transcends the herd. The Übermensch is not bound by the morality of the weak. He does not seek permission to exist. He builds his own values, his own path, his own destiny. This is the ultimate self-development, not improving within the system, but burning the system down and building something greater in its place. But the path to becoming an Übermensch is not for the weak. It requires a complete transformation, a death of the old self, a rebirth into something stronger. Self-development in the face of nothingness. How do you become the Übermensch? Nietzsche's answer is brutal: you must be willing to suffer. Not in a passive, meaningless way, but through struggle, through challenge, through forging yourself in fire. Growth does not come from comfort. It comes from destruction. Kill the weak parts of yourself. Every time you hesitate, every time you doubt, every time you surrender to fear, you must crush that weakness. The old you must die so the real you can emerge. Reject the morality of the herd. Do not live by rules created to keep you small. Make your own principles, your own code, and follow it relentlessly. Embrace your darkest thoughts. Most people suppress their shadow self, their raw, primal instincts. But Nietzsche believed that true power comes from integrating the darkness, not running from it. Your demons are not enemies. They are fuel. Create your own meaning. Stop waiting for life to hand you a purpose. There is no script, no grand plan, no cosmic justice. You are alone in the void, and that is your greatest power. If the universe gives you nothing, you are free to become anything. The nightmare of weak men. The world fears the Übermensch because he cannot be controlled. He does not bow to gods, does not follow orders, does not seek approval. He is free, and nothing is more terrifying to those still trapped in the illusion. Weak men mock what they do not understand. They call him arrogant, cruel, dangerous. And in a way, he is. To become the Übermensch, you must be willing to destroy the old world, both within yourself and around you. You must be willing to walk alone. The Last Man versus. The Übermensch. Nietzsche saw two futures for humanity: 1. The last man, the ultimate sheep. He desires nothing, risks nothing, dares nothing. He seeks only comfort, distraction, and safety. He is the end of human potential, the final collapse into mediocrity. 2. The Overman, the creator, the destroyer, the one who dares. He does not ask what life means, he decides what it will mean. He shapes reality with his own hands. Most people will choose the first path. Will you? Destroying the chains of the past. The most dangerous chains are the ones you don't even realize are holding you down. They don't rattle. They don't tighten suddenly. They simply exist, woven into your mind from birth, shaping the way you think, act, and live. And the worst part? Most people never even try to break free. Nietzsche saw this as humanity's greatest tragedy. People live under the weight of dead ideas, old morals, outdated beliefs, inherited fears, without ever questioning them. They believe they are free, but in reality, they are prisoners of a system designed to keep them weak. The Übermensch, the Overman, does not accept these invisible chains. He breaks them. But before you can do that, you must first recognize what is enslaving you. The three metamorphoses, how to reinvent yourself. Nietzsche describes the transformation of the spirit in Thus Spoke Zarathustra with a haunting metaphor: the three metamorphoses. If you ever hope to become more than just another name on a forgotten gravestone, you must pass through each stage. 1. The camel, the beast of burden. Most people live as camels. They carry the weight of tradition, religion, societal expectations, and duty. They accept suffering because they are told it is noble. They obey without question. They believe sacrifice will one day be rewarded. Do you feel like a camel? Carrying the expectations of family, society, and a world that tells you who you should be? 2. The lion, the destroyer of illusions. Some rare individuals wake up. They feel the weight of the burden and reject it. The lion roars, refusing to kneel. He no longer follows blindly. He questions everything. He destroys the old gods, the false morals, the inherited beliefs that once enslaved him. But here is where most fail: they stop at destruction. They tear everything down but build nothing in its place. Rebellion is not enough. 3. The child, the creator of a new world. The final stage is the hardest to reach. The child is not weak, it is pure creation. It does not live by rejection alone but by self-invention. It plays, explores, dreams, and makes its own values, its own meaning, its own reality. This is the true freedom of the Overman. Most people never make it past the camel. Some become lions but remain trapped in rage. Only the rarest few reach the final stage. Where are you? Slave morality versus master morality, the truth about power. One of Nietzsche's most radical ideas was his attack on morality itself. He argued that what we call good and evil are not absolute truths but tools of control. Slave morality, built by the weak to control the strong. It glorifies humility, obedience, suffering, and submission. It tells people to be good by being passive, self-sacrificing, and small. Master morality, the morality of the powerful. It values strength, ambition, creativity, and dominance. It does not beg for permission or seek approval. It does not pretend all people are equal. It demands excellence. Most of what you have been taught falls under slave morality. You were told to be humble, to not strive too high, to apologize for your strength. But the Overman lives by master morality. He does not ask what is good or evil, he asks, what is powerful? What allows me to grow? What makes me unbreakable? Do you live by your own code, or do you follow one designed to keep you weak? Eternal recurrence, the ultimate test of your life. Imagine this: a demon comes to you in the dead of night and whispers, "This life, as you live it now, in every detail, you must live again and again, for eternity. No changes. No escape. Every mistake, every regret, every moment of suffering, you will relive it forever." Would you collapse in horror, realizing that you have wasted your existence? Or would you embrace it, knowing that you have lived exactly as you were meant to? This is eternal recurrence, Nietzsche's ultimate test of life. If the idea of repeating your life endlessly fills you with dread, you are not truly living. The Overman would accept the challenge. He would choose to relive his life again and again, not because it is easy, but because it is his. Ask yourself, if today was to repeat forever, would you be proud? Or would you be trapped in an endless nightmare of your own making? The death of the last illusion. Many people think Nietzsche's philosophy is dark, even nihilistic. But here is what most miss: he did not want people to be broken by the death of old beliefs. He wanted them to become gods in their own right. To stop looking for meaning outside themselves and start creating it. Your suffering is not punishment. Your struggles are not meaningless. They are the forge in which you can build something greater than you ever imagined. Most will never escape the herd. They will stay comfortable, obedient, asleep. But you can choose to destroy the chains, face the abyss, and create something new. The only question is, will you? The fire that cannot be extinguished. What if you've been lied to your entire life? Not just by society. Not just by religion. But by your own mind. What if the greatest obstacle standing between you and the life you were meant to live, was you? Nietzsche's philosophy isn't just about tearing down illusions. It's about forcing you to face yourself. To strip away every excuse, every comforting lie, every illusion of safety. Because if you truly understood what you were capable of, you would never allow yourself to live the way you do now. But here's the harsh truth: most people will never reach their full potential, not because they lack the ability, but because they lack the courage. They are afraid. Afraid to break the rules, afraid to think for themselves, afraid to become powerful. Because power comes with responsibility. And responsibility means there is no one left to blame. The secret of the strongest men in history: look at the people who have truly changed the world. They were not good in the way society defines goodness. They did not follow the rules. They did not seek approval. They carved their own path, no matter how many people hated them for it. Nietzsche understood this better than anyone. He admired figures like Julius Caesar, Napoleon, and great artists, thinkers, and conquerors, not because they were perfect, but because they dared. They lived as if they were meant to be great, even when the world told them otherwise. And here's where things take a turn you didn't expect: you have that same potential inside you. But society has spent your entire life convincing you otherwise. They tell you to be humble, to follow the system, to be realistic. To aim for happiness instead of greatness. To be comfortable instead of dangerous. But the Übermensch does not seek happiness. He seeks power. Not power over others, but power over himself. Power to shape his destiny, to control his mind, to become unbreakable. And if you truly want to change your life, you must stop thinking like the herd and start thinking like the Übermensch. The most powerful mind trick Nietzsche ever discovered: imagine two men, both standing at the edge of a dark forest. One man sees only fear. He imagines the dangers lurking in the shadows, the risks of stepping into the unknown. He stays where he is, convincing himself he is being smart. The other man sees the same darkness, but instead of fear, he feels excitement. Because he knows something the first man doesn't. He knows that the deeper he goes, the stronger he will become. This is the power of amor fati, one of Nietzsche's most powerful ideas. It means love of fate, but not in a passive way. It means embracing everything that happens to you, even suffering, as fuel for your own evolution. Most people try to avoid hardship. The Übermensch uses it. If he fails, he does not complain. He learns. If he suffers, he does not break. He becomes stronger. If he loses everything, he does not beg for pity. He rebuilds. He does not wish for a different life. He chooses to love the one he has, because he knows that every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of pain is shaping him into something greater. Ask yourself, what if every setback in your life was not an enemy, but a test? What if everything you hated about your past was not a curse, but a gift? What if the thing you've been running from is the key to your transformation? The final illusion you must destroy. Nietzsche's philosophy is not for those who seek comfort. It is for those who seek greatness. And the final illusion you must destroy is the idea that you have time to waste. Because here's the truth, most people live as if they will never die. They delay their dreams, suppress their desires, make excuses, and tell themselves, one day. But one day never comes. Nietzsche despised this way of living. He believed that life should be lived with urgency, with fire, with a sense that every moment matters. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for the right time. Do not wait until you feel ready. You will never feel ready. You must act anyway. One last question before the final chapter. You have now seen the path of the Übermensch. You have stared into the abyss. You have felt the weight of the chains that have held you back. But the real question is not whether you understand Nietzsche's ideas. The real question is, what will you do with them? Most will watch this and feel inspired for a moment, then return to their old lives. They will remain camels, carrying the weight of expectations they never questioned. But a few, just a few, will feel something deeper. A fire that cannot be extinguished. Which one will you be? The final chapter awaits. Become what you are. There is no turning back now. You have seen the illusions that keep the world asleep. You have felt the weight of inherited beliefs, the quiet pull of weakness disguised as virtue. You have stood at the edge of the abyss and, for the first time, dared to look down. And now, there is only one thing left to do. Step forward. Nietzsche's final challenge to you is not to admire his philosophy, it is to live it. To stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop being a shadow of what you could become. The Overman does not seek approval. He does not ask if the path is safe. He does not bow to the expectations of the herd. He becomes. And that is now your task. Burn away the old self. Create the new. Be ruthless in your pursuit of strength, of greatness, of truth. And when the world tells you to slow down, to be careful, to follow the rules, laugh. Because you know something they don't. You are no longer waiting for life to happen. You are taking it. And this is only the beginning. If you are ready to keep evolving, to go even deeper into these ideas, there is much more to uncover. Stay with us. The next step in your transformation is coming soon. Until then, become what you are.